Let's talk about the 7 keys to sales success. And all of these are incredibly important in the mix to achieve an absolutely outstanding outcome. That's the sell-through, that's a delighted client, both in terms of seller and a purchaser in the process. The first one of these, of course, is your seller management. It's the quality of the communication you have with your owners throughout the actual marketing of the property. One of our performance standards, quite simply, is that the owner should never need to call you during the marketing of the property, which means there's no point in time that the owner is left in the unknown kind of space. And no news is not good news. We want to make sure we're communicating to the owner so they can make an informed commercial decision about their property. The second one, importantly, is the quality of buyer inquiry. We need to make the assumption with every buyer who's inquiring, they could be the purchaser for the property. Also, by the way, 2 in 10 buyers are pipeline sellers, are potential sellers. So you delivering magnificent service to the buyer inquiries has a huge impact on how we actually are perceived in terms of potential selling opportunities in the future. What I will say is with any buyer inquiry, be it an open, be it a follow-up, you need to make sure you're servicing their buying need first and then identify the selling opportunity second. Very important part of the process. And what is incredibly important is to ensure that you start the negotiation process, the deal maker process, letting them know what is great about that particular property early in the process. So a buyer inquiry is absolutely gold in the process. And of course, a lot come through email. We want to make sure we have an engaged email communication and a responsiveness back to them that shows that we're on the game plan well and truly. Of course, the third component is outstanding opens. And there's no question that opens are the biggest public showing of how great you are. So you want to make sure your opens literally stand out in the marketplace. This is your showtime as far as the market is concerned. And what we want to do is make sure our preparation, our ad open, and importantly, as we move from outstanding opens to the actual fourth component, and that is our OFI follow-up. And there's no question in my mind, the quality of OFI follow-up, when it is brilliant, has you stand out in the marketplace. Yes, you're delivering a great service to the owner, you're also delivering a great positioning and profile for you as a preferred agent in the marketplace. What's your goal of OFI follow-up? Identify the hot buyers for this particular property, potential buyers for other properties to direct, and then of course look at the opportunities for you to be able to sell property as a back-end function. But make sure you're servicing the buyer need first and then identifying the selling need. From there is your buyer management. And what you'll end up having is a buyer pool, a large pool of buyers. You want to make sure we're communicating effectively with them. And then we bubble to the surface the hot buyers on this property or a hot buyer across the board. What we want to do is ensure that we're communicating effectively, educating and adding value to those particular hot buyers in such a way that they make a massive difference to the marketplace. From there, one of the keys to sales success is understanding motivation. And you've probably heard me talk that motivation comes before negotiation. So really looking at the motivation of the seller, what is the goal of their particular sale, and looking at the motivation of the buyer, what is it about this particular property? Does it actually meet their ideals in terms of buying a property? The more you can play the matchmaking game, the better results you'll achieve. So understanding motivation, number 6. And then finally, number 7 comes in, and that's the follow through a professional negotiation, ensuring that you can put every single energy, effort, strategy in place to achieve an absolutely outstanding outcome. And to a great extent, the other components you might have an average agent being able to do. But when you bring professional negotiation into the conversation and into the mix of things, that's where you'll have greater sales success, where you'll have shorter days on market, great average sale price, and achieving outstanding results for clients. And by the way, both the seller and the buyer are delighted with the process. Why? The value has been added to the owner in terms of the sale of the property, and the value has been added to the buyer because they've now found the property that's really going to suit their needs. From a lifestyle point of view or a wealth creation point of view, it's the property that's really going to suit their needs. Bringing that all together, you've started to really add some significant value to you and the marketplace. So let's take this from the top. Number 1, the quality of seller management throughout the marketing of their particular property. Secondly, your buyer engagement, your buyer inquiry process. Outstanding opens comes in at number 3, and of course, OFI follow-up, the quality of that follow-up is absolutely critical. After we've got that in place, what are we doing to manage those buyers, engage them and keep them engaged in the property, or help direct the traffic to the property that does suit their particular needs? Next, we have understanding their motivation. So we recognise motivation comes prior to the negotiation process, and that leads beautifully into number 7, which is your professional negotiation skills that are really about bringing together a win-win-win outcome in the whole process of achieving a great result. Have a great conversation in these particular areas. Where do you see the biggest opportunities for you to improve with these 7 keys to sales success? Thanks for tuning in.